been 1 year since I started looking at side hustles seriously and wondering how can I make some extra money online. And I thought I should make a video detailing what worked for me, what didn't work, and how you could get started yourself as well. And not waste your time chasing all of these things these YouTubers want you to believe, that you can make $5,000, $10,000, or even sometimes $50,000 a month doing side hustles. That is most likely not going to work. These results are going to be extremely real. And you might wonder why these numbers are so much lower than what other YouTubers are saying online. But that's just because these numbers are realistic. I don't want to sell you a course. I don't have a Discord membership to sell you. I'm pretty much a regular person trying to find out how to make some extra money. So I'll be telling you everything that worked. I'll be telling you everything that didn't. And I'll be breaking down how you can get started yourself from A to Z. Also, I'll be giving proof of everything, all the side hustles I tried and exactly how much money I made. Before we dig deeper into the first side hustle, I just want you to understand how my year went. In January, I only made $286. I'm saying only, but that's not too bad when you think about it. Next month, I made even lower at $198. In March, I made $224. And in April, I made $330. In the first 4 months of the year, I was pretty much stuck on one side hustle. I wasn't taking this as seriously as I probably should. But May is when I realized that maybe there are ways of making money online and I just don't know about them yet. So I started trying some things out and I actually made $528. June, it went down to $393 because I couldn't stay consistent. And in July, I dialed some things down and it actually shot up to $860. But I went too hard and in August I burnt out and made $420, and the last 4 months of the year have been pretty consistent and pretty good for me, all being over $600. So the trend is positive. If you see the trajectory, it's actually trending upwards, which is always nice to see. All in all, I made $515.25 on average per month. Now that we have that earning snapshot, I want to get into the first side hustle that actually worked for me. The first side hustle that worked is participating in online research. I primarily do this in 2 ways. The first is usertesting.com and the second is prolific.com. Both sites are extremely different and I'll get into them, but here's my earning snapshot of usertesting.com. As you can see, I made $1,000. More than $1,000, and all of these surveys have paid me anywhere from $60, $30, $10, $4, all the way up to $90. Even though I haven't qualified for any of the $90 ones, there are surveys that pay you $90. For Prolific, it's much of the same. These surveys don't pay as high as usertesting.com, but they take not that long to complete. And as you can see, I made around 141 pounds, which is $200 something doing this. So now that we've got the earnings out of the way, what are these 2 things? Let's start off with usertesting.com. Usertesting.com is a user experience research website. That simply means that there's companies out there that need feedback on their products and services, and they're looking for people like you who might have interest in those products and services. For example, if you're into fashion, there might be a company that has a website that's selling clothes, and they want your feedback on how they can make that website better. If you're into cryptocurrency, there might be a cryptocurrency wallet that recently launched and needs your feedback on how to make their app more interactive. There's all sorts of apps that need feedback from users, and if you think about it, if they're paying you $30 or $60 an hour, they're probably making thousands of dollars from that research because they'll get more customers. The sign-up process for this website is extremely easy. You just have to go and give them your email and some basic information about yourself, like where you live, what your interests are, what devices you have access to, like an iPhone or an Android. And after you're done with all of that, you get access to a bunch of surveys. These surveys, like I mentioned, can range from $4 all the way up to $90. The most common surveys that you'll see are these $10 surveys, each taking you 15 minutes to complete. Some of these surveys that I've done have taken me 5 minutes to complete, and some take longer, but on average, it takes you around 10 to 15 minutes to complete. You also have the $30 and $60 surveys, for which they require you to sign up and schedule an interview with the actual company. This is a very structured interview. They'll present you a product or a prototype, and then they'll ask you to walk through what you like about it, what you dislike, what you would improve. Depending on if it's a $30 survey or a $60 survey, this could last anywhere from between 30 minutes to an hour. The one thing to note with usertesting.com is that you'll have to speak your thoughts out loud. Even with the $10 survey and the $4 surveys, you'll have to record what you actually think about the product or the website. If you're not comfortable doing that, just speak on your phone for a bit and I'll guarantee you'll be comfortable. And you can start doing these $4 and $10 surveys pretty easily. The only caveat with usertesting.com is that you'll not qualify for all of these surveys. Sometimes you'll start filling out what's called a pre-screener, essentially questions about yourself and your experience, and you'll get to a point where you get disqualified. In my experience, you get disqualified for 4 out of 5 surveys, so you qualify for around 20% of the surveys that they send you. The second survey site is prolific.com. These are much shorter surveys that also pay less. A lot of these surveys pay under $10, but they also take less time to complete. Of course, the hourly rate is nothing compared to usertesting.com although they are still pretty consistent. Sign-up process extremely simple and extremely similar to usertesting.com, and you give your interest much like with other survey websites, getting access to a bunch of surveys. The only caveat here is that you'll not get enough surveys to make a lot of money. You'll probably make around $50 to $100 every month if you stay consistent. But I am on this subreddit called r/beermoney, where I have seen people make hundreds of dollars doing this, sometimes even $300. So maybe it's just my luck that I've not gotten enough surveys, but my experience has been that usertesting.com is definitely the superior website. Although you're not gonna make a full-time income doing surveys on usertesting.com or Prolific, I think this combination can make you potentially hundreds of dollars throughout the month, real money that you can use to invest, buy groceries from, or do whatever you want with it. The second side hustle is Fiverr.com. Here's the earnings proof. I've made around $1,000 doing Fiverr.com, $800 that I've already gotten, plus a couple hundred extra that is still being cleared through their payment services. Now that we're done with the proof, what is Fiverr.com? Fiverr.com is a freelancing website. You can sign up and provide services to businesses and individuals in any niche that you like. If you like designing logos and are good at it, you can provide logo services. If you like writing and want to write books, you can provide writing services. If you're more technical, you can provide software services as well. Anything that you can think of can be sold on Fiverr.com as a freelancing service. Sign-up process is extremely simple. You sign up, you give them your email, your basic information, your country of residence, and now you're ready to start posting gigs. Gigs are essentially the services that you'll be selling. Here's my first piece of advice here is actually selling something that you're good at. If you're not good at designing logos, please do not sell logos. I just don't do it. There's so many people out there that are selling logos that your work is just not going to be good enough to compete in the market. My recommendation is selling something that you're good at just so that you can stand out from the crowd. I sell career services here. I'm good at helping people prepare for the job search process, whether it be giving interviews, their resume or cover letter. I've helped over 100 people now, I think, get into companies that they actually like. So I know what I'm talking about. I know how to help people in this niche, and that's what I decided to sell. You don't see me selling 3D animation services just because I'm not a good animator. So whatever you're good at, start selling that particular service. And this is where the second piece of advice comes in. I recommend that you start selling at a lower price than the market. I can talk about my niche. In my niche, there's people that are selling services for hundreds of dollars an hour, and I sell my services for around $40 an hour for my gigs. Why is that? Why don't I just go to that $100 and something hour price tag? That is because I don't have social proof right now. I do have reviews and I will continue getting reviews, but why would I go for someone that is the same price with 80% less reviews if I have this guy who's been selling on Fiverr for years, has hundreds of reviews, and because of this, I know it's going to be a safe bet. To counter this social proof, you need to sell lower so you get social proof yourself. Then you can jack up the price and sell it at market price pretty soon enough. The third piece of advice is staying consistent. My Fiverr.com income was pretty trash in the early months just because I got low impressions and lower orders, but I've stayed consistent and earned decent money over the last 2 months just because now I have that social proof and the algorithm on Fiverr is showing my gig to other people. Do what you're actually good at. The most important thing, this one thing, please just do what you're good at. And if you don't know what you're good at and want to get good at something, there's plenty of resources online where you can go and explore freelancing services and where you actually fit in. Getting back on track, do what you're good at, stay consistent, and price low until you get that social proof. And you will see success with Fiverr.com. Before we go to the next side hustle, if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button and the subscribe button. Every subscriber helps get this video to the right people, also interested in learning more about money, how to save more, and invest more. The third side hustle that actually works is dividend investing. This, in my opinion, is the holy grail for side hustles. And here is my income proof throughout the year. I've gotten paid through dividends every single month for the entire year from companies and ETFs that we'll break down. Some companies and ETFs have paid me north of $100 every month, while others pay less but still pay dividends. I can keep scrolling, literally I can keep scrolling forever because every single month I get paid for doing pretty much nothing. I'm just gonna let the scroll talk here. I think that's enough scrolling. Let's get on to what dividend investing actually is. Dividends are easy to understand. Let's say that a company sells products or services. This company could be like Apple and Microsoft that sell services, or it could be companies like Pepsi and Coke that sell products. Every company, or I should say every good company, subtracts costs from their revenue and gets what's called a profit. This is essentially leftover money for the shareholders and the business. At this point, these companies take a part of this profit and give it back to the shareholders. $100. This is where I and other dividend investors come in. Companies like Pepsi have a dividend yield of 3.35%, which essentially means that for every $100 that you invest, you get $3.35 back every year in profit. Other companies like Microsoft have a lower dividend yield at around 1%, which means that for every $100 you invest, you get $1 back in dividends. This does not mean that this is your total return, because this does not take into account the stock price appreciation or the rise in price of the actual stock. This sounds good so far, but you might be thinking this is very high risk. What if Microsoft is doing well now, but 10 years from now, nobody needs Microsoft and people rightfully realize that PowerPoint and Excel suck a lot? Well, this is why I primarily invest in ETFs. ETFs, or exchange trade funds, hold a basket of companies and track particular stock indices. One of the popular indices is the S&P 500 that contains 500 of the biggest companies in the United States of America. ETFs tracking this index hold these companies in the exact proportion of the company's market value. So let's say that Apple is the biggest company, followed by Microsoft, Nvidia, and Google. They're going to hold the largest percentage of Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Google, but they'll have the rest of those 496 companies as well. So you're not investing in 1, 2, or even 4 companies, you're investing in 500 companies if you buy ETFs. You can imagine why this is less risky than individual companies, because even if a company goes bankrupt, there's 499 other companies and the index is just going to replace that one company. So you'll be investing in 500 companies at the end of the day. And this is where most of my money comes from. Most of my money comes from ETFs that track the S&P 500, 500 of the biggest companies in the United States of America, the TSX 60, or the Canadian version of the S&P 500, and covered call ETFs. Covered call ETFs are controversial in investment circles online. Essentially, they sacrifice some long-term growth to give you income now. I don't have a lot of money in covered call ETFs, but I do like the dividend yield that they bring, and they help me stay consistent to invest and save more, which for me at a young age is extremely important given how many distractions to blow money there exist in this world. I also invest a portion of my money in individual companies like Pepsi, P&G, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and some Canadian companies, Canadian staples like the Bank of Nova Scotia, Manulife Financial, that all pay dividends. But like I said, a majority of my money still lies in these ETFs. ETFs tracking the S&P 500 and the Canadian TSX 60. And like I mentioned before, my portfolio also has gone up in value, like you can see, to the tune of over $20,000 the past year. So I have seen not just these dividend returns, but also the stock price appreciation. Dividends in particular, it's gotten to a point now where you can see some of these months I get paid over $500 every month for holding on to ETFs. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's bonkers that holding stocks can pay you money and the stock price also goes up. I still have to wrap my head around that. When you get started, you're probably not gonna make hundreds of dollars like I am. You're probably gonna make $10 or $20 every month and be wondering why I am doing this in the first place, because it hurts to see a Starbucks cappuccino be deposited in your account every month and you have to be happy about that. But the biggest thing with dividend investing is staying consistent. You have to take a long-term approach for this. 20 years from now, what do you think is going to be good for you? Letting your money stay in a savings account, or investing and making that money work for you and getting paid dividends at the same time? So those were the 3 ones that actually worked for me. I'm going to throw in an extra one, which is crypto staking. I only make $70-something every single year through this, so I'm not going to claim that I am a crypto staking expert, but essentially I believe in the long-term potential of cryptocurrency to disrupt industries to the extent that I invest some money into it. I'm not fully sold, but I think there is some potential there. Staking is a process whereby you use your cryptocurrency to certify transactions on the blockchain and you get rewarded for it. Every transaction on the blockchain needs to be certified to get added onto the blockchain, and if you hold particular cryptocurrencies, you can lend them as service and get some reward for certifying transactions. I like Ethereum because it has the biggest ecosystem and I think it's going to be good for the future. It only pays you around 2.5% or so in return in terms of your staking return. It's just a return to hold on to my crypto, because most of the return is going to be in the stock price appreciation, or I should say crypto price appreciation. As you can see, my Ethereum has been up decent, around 20% in the last year, and I can only see this going up further as cryptocurrencies become more normalized. All right, that's what worked for me, those 4 side hustles, or 3.5 if you want to count crypto as half. What didn't work for me? The first thing that didn't work is dropshipping. Dropshipping is claimed by internet gurus online to be the holy grail to escape your 9 to 5. I think dropshipping is a huge waste of time because it requires a lot of time. It is not passive, it is not hands-off, as these gurus want you to believe. It takes a lot of time and energy to set up a good dropshipping store. I'm not gonna sit here and say dropshipping is completely a scam, because There might be people making money. I just want to say that I don't think dropshipping is a side hustle. I don't think you can make consistent side hustle income through dropshipping, at least in my experience. The second thing that doesn't work is setting up social media accounts with AI regurgitated content. This is also a darling of these make money online YouTubers that I like to call scammers or course sellers, because they want you to believe that you can make $10,000 a month using ChatGPT and some regurgitated content on Instagram, YouTube, etc., etc. This does not work. I've tried this many times. I would say I've tried this at least 5 times over the last year, and all 5 times I have failed because there's tons of content like this out there. If you hit the jackpot, you might actually be lucky and be able to do this, but in my experience, you're just better off buying a lottery ticket because it's the same probability. If you were to ask me, it's better to make content that you're actually passionate about so you can stay consistent and build an audience and build connection with people and grow together. The last thing that in my opinion doesn't work is marketplace flipping. Flipping is a process of buying something cheap and selling it high. A lot of gurus recommend using Facebook Marketplace, eBay, etc., etc. But for me, this is not a worth it side hustle because the margins that you make are extremely low. You can only make at most 10 to 15% on most items, plus the time commitment is extremely high. You have to do pretty much everything in a flipping business. You have to go and source the product. You have to actually put the ad up to sell it. You sometimes even have to pay for shipping and ship the product. So if you don't have time, like I don't have time holding a full-time job and balancing other responsibilities, flipping is not going to work for you. It wasn't the best for my situation at least, and I don't think flipping is worth it at the end of the day. Now that we've talked about what didn't work, what are my plans for the future for my side hustling? In 2025, I would like to grow my side hustles to $1,000 every single month. You might be wondering, that is double of 500. How am I going to get there? Well, the thing is, I'm just going to scale my existing hustles and try to add on a few more. So scale up my dividends by investing more money, scale up Fiverr by spending more time and also getting more reviews, getting more clients, and also incorporate some newer hustles. One of the hustles that I'm looking at is casino sweepstakes. Essentially, a lot of casinos online pay you $1 just for logging in, and there's 15 or 17 casinos operating in Canada, and the States has way more. So you can just log in online every day, claim your $1 reward, do this for a month, and then play through your money. You will lose around 10% of your money playing through, but a lot of people online claim that they've made hundreds of dollars doing this every month for not much work. And a lot of people claim that this is an infinite return because they don't have to put in anything to get that free $1 reward. The crypto casinos have to do this because this is a regulation placed by the FTC and other commissions in other countries. I could also use your help. Are there any side hustles that you think I should try because you don't want to waste your time and want to know if it actually works? Trust me, I'll be your guinea pig. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and the subscribe button. Every subscriber helps get this video to the right people also interested in learning more about money, how to make more, save more, and invest. 2024 was great for side hustling, and hopefully 2025 is even better for myself and for you as well. I'll see you in the next one.